This video shows the top 10 industries that are hiring within the United States, what type of jobs that are hiring, and which ones are in decline. This video also includes remote employment and the countries where employment is on the rise and which countries where employment is on decline. Hi, I'm Todd, and I know this year there's been a massive amount of layoffs in every industry, from tech to banking to retail. And I made this video to help people locate a job, or what areas, like what areas within the country, what industry that might be hiring. I got most, but not all of my data from a company called ADP, which stands for Automated Data Processing. ADP is one of the largest payroll companies in the world. It is ranked number 227 on the Fortune 500 list of the largest United States corporations by revenue. They do payroll for small to very large corporations such as Microsoft and Amazon. Since they do payroll for all kinds of companies worldwide, they see which industries and companies are increasing their payroll and thus may be hiring, and which ones are decreasing their payroll, which could translate into which ones are laying off people or are in decline. This data is for year 2025. First, let's start with company size. As you can see from this chart, the only companies that are really hiring are large corporations. The small to mid-sized companies are not really hiring right now, and this is mostly because of the tariffs. Many small to mid-sized companies get most of their products or raw materials from overseas, and these tariffs are killing their businesses. The tariffs are driving up their costs, and they are not sure if their customers or consumers will pay these additional costs. They themselves, the companies, cannot afford to pay these additional costs, so you might see a lot of them go out of business. However, if you look at this next chart, it shows that the number one industry that is hiring is staffing and recruiting. This seems to indicate that many companies might not be hiring for full-time employment, but they might be instead hiring for temporary workers. Many companies do not want to hire full-time employees until they know how these tariffs will affect or pay out. Not until it all becomes stable and they can better predict how it will affect their business. But, however, they still need the work to get done. You might want to try temp work or freelancing work. However, if you look at this chart, remote employment has been in decline for the past 6 months. Even though it seemed like it has stabilized, but it is still not high as it was back in January. So for these types of temp or freelancing work, they might want you to come into the office or have a hybrid, home some days, in the office some other days. But if you look at this next chart, this is not for all industries. In fact, remote work for staffing and recruitment, IT services, computer software, and hospitality are all on the rise. Now let's look at which part of the United States seem to have the most job growth. From this chart, it looks like the most job growth is in the Northeast or the West. Job growth that is in decline is in the Midwest, but this could be due to agriculture. A lot of farms in Nebraska, Kansas, Iowa, Arkansas have lost all of the business or lost their overseas market, which means they are not selling anything to China or other countries. So they have done a lot of massive layoffs. Now, if you look at the South is adding a few jobs, but not much, and this includes Texas. A lot of tech companies in the West have laid off a lot of people, but there's one company in Montana called Snowflake. Snowflake is a data warehousing company, and they have contracts with all kinds of companies, and this includes Microsoft and Amazon. Tech companies are building data centers all over the United States, and some of these data centers are massive. In fact, companies from all over the world are building data centers here within the United States. Companies from Canada and Europe are building data centers here within the United States. So if you're looking for a job that will last, you might want to try something or anything related to data or AI, artificial intelligence, such as data warehousing, data storage, data retrieval, data security, or data governance. Now, if we look back at the chart that shows the top 10 industries that are hiring, you can see the IT services is number 5. So tech companies such as Google and Microsoft and Amazon might be laying off in one area, but they might be hiring in many other areas, especially in areas related to data and artificial intelligence. Now, let us look at countries that are doing the most hiring. Remember what I said before? The companies from Canada and Europe are building data centers here within the United States. If you look at this chart, Great Britain, Canada, France, and the Netherlands' job growth is increasing. Germany's job growth is decreasing. Germany's job growth might be decreasing, and this could be due to the fact that China might manufacture many of the high-tech components that go into our consumer goods, but then they ship these components to Germany, and it is Germany that assembles them into the final product. Then Germany ships them to the United States. The tariffs is contributing and reducing the amount of high-tech consumer goods that are coming from Germany into the United States. Plus, this chart also shows that Mexico job growth is increasing, and this could be due because of China manufacturing is now in other countries, and one of the countries is Mexico. Italy job growth is decreasing, but for the past 10 to 20 years, they have always had a bad economy, so this really hasn't changed much. What has changed this year is that the United States job growth is starting to decrease or decline. And this is what the next chart also indicates. If you look at this chart, almost every industry within the United States is in decline. Okay, behind me is my hometown where I grew up in. It's called Park Forest. It's a very nice town. It's all black American town. You know. So let me show you the park before I go. So I hope this video helps. You know, I hope it helps you in some kind of way. So before I go, let me show you my my little park. Hey guys.